Welcome to Survival Theory. Are you prepping enough? That's the question. I'll repeat that. Are you prepping enough? Is there a prepping too much? Well, there can be, but are you prepping enough is the real question. So what is prepping? Prepping is not just storing food and water or toilet paper so that the next time something happens, you're set for the next 2 weeks. Prepping is about storing food, yes, storing water, a means of self-defense, acquiring skills such as shelter building, edible plant identification, fire building, your basic camping skills, first aid, simple repairs around the home is part of prepping. There's a lot of aspects to prepping, and all those skills and that knowledge takes some time to get stuck up here to where you know it. So most of us cannot afford to run out to the grocery store and buy pallets of food and the next day, hey, we're prepped, good to go. It usually doesn't work that way. It's buying a few cans of this, a few cans of that, and setting it aside. You know, buying some extra canned tuna fish, buying some canned vegetables, some freeze-dried meals, some long-term food like that. Bags of rice, bags of beans and peas, dried beans and peas. That takes a while to collect all that, to have enough to sustain yourself for an extended period of time. But before you know it, you're buying just a few cans here and there. You've got an extra month's worth of food. And that's a great accomplishment. You're ahead of most people on the planet. And then you keep collecting. But you have to diversify. It's not about just food. Don't forget water. In many places, water is not readily available. There's no fresh stream right outside your door. There's no large pond on your property. It doesn't rain every day. And those sources may be contaminated anyway, depending on the situation. So you need to have some stored water that you can purify and drink, or just drink because it's already purified. Food, water, shelter, basic requirements for human life. Your home is your shelter. Do you have some basic skills to get it repaired? Do you have some basic supplies to get it repaired? Are you in a situation where you can have tarps in your garage ready to patch a hole in the roof? Like if the grid was down, you had to sustain your shelter. That means putting a tarp over the roof or some plywood over the windows if they were broken out, or you need to keep them from breaking. What about shelter building? Can you go out in the woods and build a simple shelter, a lean-to protect yourself from the elements? Maybe you can build a big log cabin. That's great. Do you have the skills to do that? Have you practiced? That's an important part of prepping. Food, water, shelter. First aid is another aspect of prepping that's pretty important. It's one of those things you don't want to use. Hopefully you don't have to. But when it's needed, that first aid knowledge could save a life, could save your life. Do you have simple things like Band-Aids and antibiotic ointment stored up? That may seem trivial, but if you get a small staph infection when the grid's down or the hospitals are closed, you're a goner from something simple as a scratch. So first aid becomes pretty important. Now we could ramble on forever about all the different aspects of prepping and what's important. But let's jump to one subject, self-defense. Don't have any ammo? Why don't you have any ammo? Because when the getting was good, you didn't get it. You kept just enough to target practice with, or maybe you were late in the game and you just purchased some firearms and now there's no ammo. That's not your fault, although you should have been into it earlier. But, so you're not buying ammo because it's too expensive or hard to find. Well, you know what? Bite the bullet and get some friggin' ammo. You've got to have ammo. If you can't defend yourself with that firearm, then it's useless. And when the going gets really tough, it's going to be even more important to have ammo. So get it now, even though it's hard to get. It's gettable. It's out there. It's doable. And while we're on the subject of self-defense, go get some magazines, 30-round magazines for any rifle you have. Heck, get a 50-round drum. Get something before those disappear forever. I've been prepping a long time, so I bought the 50-pound bags of rice, got those stored away. I've got bags of beans and split peas, cans of vegetables, canned meats, MREs, freeze-dried meals. But am I done with prepping? No. I still go to the grocery store and I buy a couple extra cans of this, a couple extra cans of that, not only just to increase my stockpile, but I know that probably in the next year or so I need to go through all my food and pull out things that might be going bad and rotate those out. So you're always prepping a little bit at a time. So are you prepping enough? Well, over the past 3 months, I feel like I haven't bought that much. And I'll show you how much I bought in the past 3 months because I haven't stored it away yet. And it's not a lot, but you know what? When you look at everything I bought all together over the past 3 months, that's a good little stash. Now imagine doing that for more months, and you can see how big that pile grows and how much food you'd have stored up. So prepping wise, this is what I have purchased in the past 3 months. And I'll show you, it's almost all food. So about 3 months ago, I went to Costco and I bought some peanut butter. And I think that's the only prepping item I got from Costco. And I went to the grocery store a couple times and I would just pick up some lentils, a couple small bags. I picked up some pasta here, yummy yummy. And this over here is canned vegetables. We've got some beets, some corn, more beets, more beets, more corn, more corn, more corn. I got some leaf spinach, more corn, more corn. Yeah, there's lots of corn available right now. I got these, I think I got these at Costco. No, these are H-E-B. These are cans of chicken breast. So I did get some meats, sweet peas, a couple little things of Armour potted meat. Yummy. Those are real cheap. I just grabbed a couple. Another leaf spinach, another potted meat, more leaf spinach. And I bought a thing of whole wheat spaghetti. This was probably like 70, 80 cents, something like that. And I got a couple boxes of these whole wheat pastas right here. Elbow pasta and penne pasta. So I've got pastas, vegetables, and some meats. And all that was just some real cheap stuff. You know, grabbing a couple cans of this, a couple cans of that over the course of several shopping trips. And then, of course, I picked this up at Costco. So that was at least a couple months worth of prepping right there. Not very much, but you can see it's a decent little pile. And imagine that over an extended amount of time. Now this side over here is stuff I picked up in one shopping trip. Kind of went crazy. I hadn't been shopping in a while. I got some sliced peaches, 2 cans of condensed chicken soup, more beets, 2 cans of sliced peaches again, 1 can of Wolf Brand chili, and I actually got that free. It was part of the meal deal. 2 cans of corn. I'm just trying to get whatever vegetables are on the shelf at the time. I don't get picky. And some green beans. Love the green beans. And I bought some split green peas. A couple bags. These are like 75 cents each bag. A lot of protein, a lot of nutrients in there. And I picked up some black-eyed peas. I like a variety of beans. And here's something I picked up that's not food. A Smart Heal for blisters. Add that to my first aid supplies. I only have a couple of those. I figured it'd be good to get some more. And I use these on camping trips anyway. These are like, add these to something. Add it to pasta or soup. I got vegetable and onion mushroom. And I got this. I use this for camping. It's pre-cooked bacon. Stays good a long, long time. And this is the Boar's Head, really good bacon. Now this is somewhat expensive compared to the frugality of all these items. This is kind of expensive, but it's worth it on a camping trip. So in the past few months I have purchased some non-food items besides this Smart Heal blister protector. I bought some ammo. I ordered ammo. It showed up at my house. I got it. It wasn't real cheap, but I got it, and that's important. I've got some on back order, so I've got more coming. Here's something I found in an antique store. Look at this bad boy. Eat your heart out, Silky. And it was very cheap. I think I paid either 25 or 30 bucks for it. And this is an old saw, and it's built well. It's large, has a leather sheath. So I'm going to restore it, get it fixed up, and I've got myself a nice $30 saw that, I mean, try buying a Silky like this, see how much it costs. So that was a good prepping item, and I'll use it for bushcrafting. Something else I picked up last week, 2 30-round mags, P-mags. I mentioned earlier that you need to get these while you still can, because the way the politics are right now, these may not be available for long. Can you prep too much? It's an interesting question. A lot of people would say no, but I would say yes. If it interferes with your daily life, then you're probably prepping too much. Now, sometimes when you're a prepper, other people think you're prepping too much if you buy anything, or if you even think about buying something extra. You know, you're a hoarder, you're a conspiracy theorist, one of those prepping freaks. But as long as you're doing it within reason and not going into debt, you're not prepping too much. Because most of those people that think you're a nut job for prepping are going to be the first ones knocking on your door asking for help when everything goes down. Another important aspect of prepping is gear. Do you have enough gear, the right gear? I'm talking about, yes, even something like extra lighters. You know, a box of Strike Anywhere matches, that's gear. What about containers to boil water in? Small enough to put in your backpack? Do you have a good backpack? Do you have a good tent? Do you have some tarps? Do you have some bank line? Do you have some paracord? Do you have a good survival knife? You know, what kind of gear do you have? What are you lacking in? And that gear extends into items such as a gas mask and extra filters, water purification tablets, radiation tablets. There's a wide range of gear from the simple to the more advanced, and they're all important. So you start at the simple and work your way up. Now, I review gear frequently. On my channel, and most of it's pretty cheap, with the exception of some things like solar-powered batteries. But most of the gear I review is pretty cheap, and I review it because I approve of it. It's worth the cost. It's a good product. You get your money's worth for sure on the products I review. I've actually got some reviews coming up on tents, a ACOG style scope. I just did a sleeping pad review. I'm about to do another solar powered battery power bank review. Those are great prepping items to have because they'll increase your comfort level or survivability in a dire situation. And most of them can be used while camping or at your home when the power's out, things like that. Are you holding back on gear because, oh, it's made in China? That is a big concern for me because I like to support American business. But some things, yeah, good luck even finding one that's made in America. Or it may not match your price point. It may be up there in price. It's a higher quality. So don't be afraid to buy foreign gear if you're going to get your money's worth, and that's all that's out there. I have a philosophy on buying things from China and places like that. If it's survival gear or something like a weapon light, something like that, I'll buy it from anywhere if it's going to keep me alive. Well, I hope I didn't ramble too much and everything's just incoherent and all over the place. I just wanted to say a few things about prepping. Mention that I'm going to be doing a few prepping videos soon and a few gear reviews pretty soon. But thanks for watching Survival Theory. Be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.